Sophie Cunningham in the WNBA has been attacked as a MAGA Barbie for saying it's common sense for men to not be in women's sports in locker rooms. Is the president following this story, and has he reached out to her?
I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children, and that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I always believe that.
Yeah. Do you see your advocacy on that, like, taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
I don't believe he has reached out to her. I know he is following the story. As you know, this is something the president feels strongly about as well, and the American people do too, that men should not be playing in women's sports. It's completely ludicrous that anyone could support that.
I stand with Sophie Cunningham, but to be honest with you, this really isn't about Sophie Cunningham. The real story and the truth is, this is what happens when you have a public outrage that's no longer changing people's mindsets.
We're attacking women. We're saying, if you look like this as a woman, you can play. If you look like this as a woman, there's a bill in Washington happening right now that's going to require all girls, just like full stop, to go through a sex test, an invasive, like, examining their genitals to see if they're a woman.
Yeah.
And that has not worked out well historically for people to do that.
We know what that means. Black girls are going to get questioned more, and they're going to get questioned first. Who's doing the examination?
Also, who wants to subject themselves to that?
And so they're going to see a pullback. They don't like women in sports because it helps us with confidence and power. And we see so many women in the C-suite played elite level sports. It's just great for you physically and all of it. But it's an attack on women in society. And I think the tie between the Heritage Foundation now wanting to go after Title IX, it's just like so blatant. Like, let's connect these dots. It's more than just a couple of trans kids in the entire country and a couple in each state being able to participate in some youth sports.
There's no hate involved. There's only love we're talking about. But what happened to loving girls who are born biologically as girls? What about their rights? What about fairness associated to them? Leah Thomas, I'm going to keep bringing that name up.
She's the swimmer who created shockwaves across the country. 23-year-old Leah Thomas.
Leah Thomas pulling away.
The UPenn swimmer making history in March as the first known transgender athlete to win a Division I national title. But her athletic achievements on the women's swim team igniting fierce debate over fairness in women's sports.
It is just not fair.
When it comes to competition, it's just not a fair fight.
Throughout the controversy, Thomas has largely remained quiet until now.
I knew there would be scrutiny against me if I competed as a woman. I was prepared for that, but I also don't need anybody's permission to be myself and to do the sport that I love.
I stand with Sophie Cunningham. I stand with Riley Gaines. I stand with them both. I have two daughters. They don't participate in sports, but if they did, that would be my position. And I think it's important to emphasize what Sophie Cunningham said a bit further. She said, I think I'll always believe that. I think it's really important to protect children and that little girls who are also involved in that category. So I stand on what I said, and I will always believe that. She claims she's not a political person, but she does have morals and beliefs, and she will always stay true to them. When asked if her stance could negatively impact the trans community, Cunningham said she's not speaking out of hate. She doesn't dislike anyone. She says, quote, I think there is room for absolutely everyone here, and I think there's room to love everyone. I truly think when you get people in the same room and you have conversations, you actually have a lot in common with a lot of people. I'm there to love, but I'm also there to love biological women. And I think that there are rights that need to be protected. And like I said, I'm going to stand true to that. I'll never falter in my beliefs in that. But I have never once said I hated the trans community. Like I said, I think there's space for everyone. I can't applaud her enough.
Whether you agree with Sophie Cunningham or not, this topic just illustrates that people either in the left or in the right trying to drive a shift to the public and to normalize something that can never be normalized, no matter what, even with public pressure versus an individual conviction.
This notion that you're hating on the trans community because you are not a proponent of them participating in female sports is utterly ridiculous. Sophie Cunningham said every word right on the money.